This week on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Like, I'm watching all of my friends fight. And they were all fighting because of the way that you treated Britney on the plane. And I don't know why.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be recapping the new episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 6, Episode 13. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's get right into this episode. I love the beginning. So the episode opens up in Angie's house, her very white, bright home, and she has her dad there as well as her aunt. Heather and Mary come over because Angie is hosting the cast's trip. They're going to Greece. Being Greek is very important to Angie, as we all know. So Mary and Angie are there, and they're kind of learning a few words in Greek. You know, basic words like thank you, hello. Then we see the women sort of pack up. We see Meredith packing up with her daughter, and it was kind of interesting seeing this because I was reminded of something that I saw on social media a few days ago, which is that they made a really good point, is that if you think about it, Meredith has had a friend of the show edit. Do y'all remember a single solo scene that Meredith has had this season? Whether it be with her kids or with her husband? No, there hasn't been any. Even with the whole airplane incident, we saw all of the women talk to their husbands or significant others about this, except Meredith. She is always either with another cast member or in a group setting. So I do think that is very interesting. The reunion was filmed, I believe, 2 days ago. The looks came out. None of them looked good, to be honest. It was a flop. But there are rumors coming out that Meredith was in the hot seat the whole time and that she might not come back. So I wouldn't be surprised. Someone even had a theory that this editing her out of a lot of the season might be punishment for the airplane incident. So I don't know, I just thought that was interesting, and I wanted to sort of mention that and ask if y'all had noticed that. But anyway, again, everybody is packing, so then it's the day for them to go to the airport. Angie is very on brand. She had her little Greek flags, a lot of Greek merch. The women are very excited. Mary says that she's gone once. Heather had never gone. She was very excited. Then we just see them arrive, and it's beautiful. And let me tell y'all, hearing the Real Housewives of any city discuss geography is the funniest thing ever. Whether it be like countries or bodies of water. I mean, I remember Kenya Moore thinking Portugal was in Spain, and I mean the examples of housewives being dumb are just endless, but it's hilarious. So once they arrive, they take a Sprinter to have dinner. They go straight to dinner. The food looked very good. Angie says that it's really a dream for her to have all of them here with her. This is where her parents were born. This is where she comes from, and she says that she really does think this will bring them all closer to her because, again, this is very special to her. And she says that she considers every single one of them who is here a friend. The trip took long. The flight was like over 14 hours, and I'm sure they had to make a stop somewhere. So they're all very tired. They're enjoying their food. Then they start joking about some stuff. And then Heather says to Lisa, I have to tell you something. You're not going to like it, but I bought a Cartier ring or Cartier watch. The reason Heather's bringing this up is because apparently Lisa had argued with Angie about her copying her because Angie bought a Cartier watch and Lisa claimed to have had it first. So Heather's sort of like trolling her. She bought one and Whitney has a new one as well. She said that they were like $6,000, and I was like, why is Whitney buying a $6,000 watch when she's like in issues? But apparently Heather bought both of them. She said there was some sort of like discount or something. So that was nice. Lisa just says congratulations. So then Heather's sort of filling Mary in on that argument that Lisa and Angie were having a while ago about this watch. The fight was so intense that according to Heather, Lisa and Angie were like looking for screenshots and old pictures and receipts. Like they were serious whenever they were fighting about this. So Angie says, listen, there shouldn't be a competition. Everyone has beautiful things. We all work hard. We are happy when you get things, Lisa, so you should be happy for us too, instead of thinking that we're copying you. So then Lisa brings up something else that she has had that now Angie has. So they begin to once again in real time argue about the watch. Who had it first? When did they buy it? Who copied who? And then Angie says, I had my Cartier first, I had my Rolex first, and I also had my Porsche first. And then Lisa's like, well, I've had my Porsche forever. And Angie says, well, I have 5 of them. And Lisa's, well, like, I have the 2025 one with the first color. They were just trying to one up each other every way possible. I think it's funny. Angie, I think, is very competitive for sure. But then Lisa, she's just so full of herself. She can't fathom the fact that, someone else can have nice things that are nicer than hers. But you know what? This is Housewives. It's really not that serious. Honestly, I would much rather be seeing them fight about luxury items than seeing them fight about bloggers like in Orange County. So that was it for the first night. It is now the next morning. Angie really went above and beyond hosting this trip. I mean, everything looked spectacular. Even the breakfast, it looked very nice. So they're all gathering around outside. They're still teasing about the copying argument because Heather jokes that she likes Lisa's Prada slides. So she's going to like copy those. And you could tell towards the beginning of this trip, for example, in this scene as well, that Meredith came into the trip trying to be fun, lighthearted, also joke, also be part of like the conversation. But Heather is like very dry. She's not feeling Meredith. She says that she can't forget Meredith calling her a liar, and she says that she still hasn't fully moved on from the whole airplane situation. So you could definitely tell that this was going to develop into more during the trip. So then after that, they get dressed and they go to the beach. When they are in the little van to head to the beach, Meredith does whisper to Heather that she wants to talk to her about last week, which was the tea party where they kind of got into it. Heather just kind of like says, okay. So they get to the beach. The beach has black sand because it comes from volcanic ash. And then somehow Mary gives them a lesson on face shapes. Then they go to eat lunch, and Heather is talking about how she saw some guy that she thought was attractive, and they're talking about the men in Greece. And Angie just casually says to Bronwyn, are you going to try and get a guy's number while we're here? And then Bronwyn just like stares at her and says nothing. And Angie says, well, you've started hinting at maybe having a bit of an open marriage. And then Bronwyn says, I've never said that. Nope. Todd and I are not in an open marriage. We are very happy. And Heather says to her, are you happy? And Bronwyn says, yes, I am super happy. I adore Todd. There's no drama between us. But Heather's like, now wait a minute. We heard about Todd looking at a girl, lingerie, and an iPad, and an airplane, and about him having to go to the hotel. But now Bronwyn is so happy? And listen, Heather has a point. And Heather says to Bronwyn, I mean, Whitney even mentioned that you weren't wearing a ring because you were having issues and you talked about it. So Bronwyn's trying to like deny this. So Mary has to get in there and she says, here's the thing, Bronwyn. You can't pretend like it didn't happen when you put stuff out there. It does seem like there's trouble. So when it comes back, you can't pretend that you don't know what we're talking about. And Bronwyn says, I know what you're talking about, but I've never told Heather that Todd moved out. But production rolls back the footage, you guys, and yeah, they show Bronwyn on and a lot of the stuff that she was saying a few weeks ago, and the whole table agrees. Meredith then sort of awkwardly says to Bronwyn, well, Bronwyn, I've stood in your shoes, I support your position, but in my experience, this is not going to be the end of it with this group. And then, yeah, again, all the other girls tell Bronwyn that them bringing this up isn't about judging her. It's about trying to be her friend, but Bronwyn was not happy. So then they head back to the villa. They take some time and then they get ready for later. Heather goes into Mary's room to talk about Meredith. She tells Mary that she doesn't understand what is going on with Meredith. She feels like Meredith is disengaging their friendship. And Mary says, tell her to her face, like be direct. Heather says, I don't know what to say because I've been direct. And she takes it as a personal attack and doesn't want us to bring it up again. So the ladies all then get dressed up. I could tell the ladies were having a lot of fun with the outfit choices that they had. So they're all heading out, but Lisa is taking an unbelievable amount of time because she has a whole glam team there fixing her up. So they decide to leave her because she's taking way too long. So they leave and then they explore the little town a little bit more. They go into some stores. So they're kind of shopping for some clothes and things like that. And they show these like very nice views. This one in particular. And now, granted, this is just us seeing it through a screen that was, through a camera. I can't imagine actually being there, but it looks very nice. It actually moved Heather to tears. Heather was crying. She said it was so beautiful that she wanted to cry. And Angie is really happy that Heather is engaged and taking it all in. So then Mary, Bronwyn, and Meredith they're at another store. And Mary says to Meredith, how are you doing? You and Heather have sort of like hit our little rough spot. And Meredith says, I don't know. I called her after last week. She didn't call back. I also approached her today and she didn't seem to respond. So if she wants to just move on and not address it, that's fine. And Mary says, no, I think you need to talk to her. You both need to be vulnerable and just be honest. Then Lisa finally makes it. She showed up in sunglasses, even though it was nighttime by then. But so then they head over to dinner. At this part, when they're walking everywhere, so they walked up a bunch of stairs and then they actually head to dinner. So Meredith actually bought Heather a little something. When they were at that store, she saw a necklace that had the letter H. So she bought that for Heather, and it was nice. But Bronwyn kept saying, it's a peace offering. It's a peace offering. Angie asks Lisa if she can please be on time tomorrow, because there's a lot of things that they're going to do, and she really wants everybody to experience them together. So they eat their dinner, and then after that, Mary addresses the elephant in the room, Heather and Meredith. Heather says, well, when I got this little present from Meredith, Bronwyn kept saying that this is a peace offering. And Meredith says, well, you've been a little tense lately, so I bought something. It was a nice gesture. If you like it, then that's good. If not, then don't keep it. And then Heather's like, whoa, like I do like it, but let's talk about it. And then Meredith says, well, I wasn't looking to do this in the group. I called you. I reached out again this morning. It's not something I can address as a group. It's not. Heather says, you assassinated my character, our friendship, my loyalty. And Meredith says, no, I did not. That is not true. Heather says, yes, that happened. And then Meredith says, my feelings were hurt. And Heather says, well, my feelings were hurt too. So then Meredith's like, well, I apologized, you apologized, so why are we even talking about it anymore? Lisa then jumps in there. She's trying to defend Meredith against Heather and says that Heather she has unrealistic expectations from Meredith. And then Heather says to Lisa, well, I'm not going to be a yes man. And also let Meredith speak. You don't need to be speaking for her. I ride or die hard for Meredith since day one. And actually when Britney brought up the TikTok, I immediately defended Meredith. But the next morning she came in guns blazing and Meredith was freaking out over a TikTok when there's so much more bigger bombs about you that they've been putting out there, but that you've chosen to ignore. But you chose this TikTok to annihilate your friendship with me, Whitney, and Britney. You are selective about what you have outrage for, she says to Meredith. And then Meredith just stares at her. Dead stares at her. And she says, I don't agree with you. If you want to hold a grudge, then that's fine. That's up to you. Then Lisa says to Heather, well, Heather, you say things that are hurtful to me and our friendship. And then she brings up something that Heather said to her at Mary's lunch that had hurt her feelings. So Heather apologizes, and then Lisa cries, and she says that she actually had her feelings hurt with what Heather said to her, and she's crying because she doesn't like that Heather was forcing her to admit what happened on the plane and her role in it, because she says that she sees it totally different. So then Lisa's crying, and then Whitney starts crying. I was like, what is going on? Whitney says, I see it so clearly. I'm watching all my friends fight, and it all stems from how you treated Britney on the plane. She says that to Meredith. Meredith says, I already spoke to Britney and we moved on. Right, Britney? And then Whitney says to Meredith, what happened is that you messed up, but we were all paying the cost for it. I don't think you have a problem. I think you are the problem right now. And then Meredith says that everyone at this table has done things that are probably much worse. So she gets up and leaves. And then Lisa gets up as well and goes after her. And that was the end of the episode. This was a good episode. I really enjoyed the trip more than anything. I liked seeing all the different places where they were going. Let me talk about this. First of all, Bronwyn. What is Bronwyn doing with this flip-flopping? I don't get it. You gotta stop doing that, Bronwyn. The cameras caught you. Like, you really think this is your second year? How do you not know they're gonna roll back the footage? And like, she's acting like Shannon Bedore, talking to people about how she is not too happy in her relationship, and then wanting to act like she never said it. Like, it doesn't work like that. Now let's get to this Meredith thing. Do I think the cousins are taking this way too far? Yes. Heather and Whitney are doing way too much. Especially because Britney doesn't probably care about it no more. She's clearly moved on. They're doing way too much, but at the same time, I can't say that without also saying that if Meredith were to just own up to it, it would just all go away. Because if Meredith owns up to it and those two just keep going at it, they're just going to look crazy. But they still do, in my opinion, have some validity, because Meredith, why is she denying it so much? If she were to just have said, you know what, yes, it's true, I apologize. If Britney moved on, I'm sure they would have moved on as well. So I don't know. But all I know is that I'm sure this finale is going to have a crazy plot twist. We're almost there, you guys. Almost at that finale, and I can't wait. But y'all, let me know what your thoughts are about this episode. I heard another theory that there are people that think there is actually footage of this plane incident that they're either going to save for the finale or the reunion. I don't know, but it would be all Salt Lake City fashion to give us a plot twist like that. So I can't wait. But you guys, let me know what your thoughts were about this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time. You'll have a great one. Bye.